What is up, my people? I hope you enjoyed the small break there. I'm happy to be sharing the stage here with these wonderful, wonderful women. The theme of this next block is market like a human. And we're going to be talking about forging stronger bonds and client loyalty through personal video. So quick poll. Who here is using video? Who has sent out a video within the last month to clients? Okay, and then second question, follow-up question, which of you overthinks it? Who overthinks it? Who gets stuck in their head? Okay, great, including our panelists. So yeah, Katie, like what is one area where you get hung up and where you see a lot of advisors get stuck in their own head?
I think, so I used to get teased as a child, even just leaving voicemails for friends. You know, I'd leave these long, rambling voicemails, and my friends would always go, you know, you're leaving a voicemail, like you're not talking to a person, but I would just get tongue-tied, and I still find that with sending one-to-one personal videos, and I will stumble over things, I'll forget what I'm saying in the middle of things, but I still send it. Because just like as a kid, you would never stop and re-record that voicemail, so when you're sending these one-to-one video messages, it should be come as you are, be that human. And even in in-person interactions, we're gonna stumble on stage here as we're talking about things. It's how humans operate. So you just go with it, you put it out there, and the best part is you'll never know how people respond until you put it out there. And I've never once had somebody respond and say, oh, I saw that mistake you made. Right, that doesn't happen. They're like, oh wow, that was really relatable, and thank you so much, and that made my day. I've never received a video like this. I've never seen these video emails, like that stood out. It's only positive things.
So we've logged a lot of hours together just talking about video, and there's so many different types of video. I mean, we just had a big produced video that was scripted, that had a particular purpose, that had an objective, but right now we're talking about authenticity and building relationships and making that emotional connection. So Candace, like, let's talk a little bit about authenticity. You talked a bit about like kind of being unscripted, because in a regular conversation, you don't go, oh, I messed up. Can we hit rewind? So that's really, really unnatural. That is so weird. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of that authenticity and being unscripted.
I've been coaching advisors on video for 10 years plus. I started in the investment department at an RIA, so I had no plans to be in marketing or do video. And the reason I got into video is we were solving a really simple problem, like how did we connect with all our advisors in our company, at the time it was United Capital, in a way that was really scalable and human, and they felt like they knew what was going on. And so when we launched that 10 years ago, we got on and we used colloquial language, very loose language. We had rap music, it was unscripted. We were in the growth department. And we sent it out, and the marketing department lost their minds because they said it was off-brand, like it didn't, which it was too loose, and it was loose, right? And ever since, but the advisors all started calling me and saying, we love it, we know what's going on. Like, how do we start to communicate with our clients and prospects like this? Since then, I've coached advisors on DIY style video, as well as like some super fancy professional shoots where like everyone's gone to film school and I feel like, do I even really know what I'm doing? And in all of those scenarios, like most advisors or executives, when they step on camera, they'll ask me, can we script this? Can we use a teleprompter? And sometimes I have to like wrangle and manage it, and we say, let's try, let's see how it goes. And it hasn't worked in my experience any of the times, because you come across as robotic. We can see your eyes move on the screen. Your intonation of your voice becomes monotone, right? And so when we're saying be authentic, if I woke you up in the middle of the night and asked you about any topic, you'd usually be able to like say it straight away, tell me all about all the things, right? So it's being able to like show up, be yourself, and translate what you do with clients one-on-one just to a digital medium. So it's not about being scripted, it's about being yourself. It's not about being a CNBC anchor. It's not being high energy if you're introverted and thoughtful. It's just about translating how you interact and how you show up in person in a digital way.
Right. So that's the value of personal video. This is supposed to be personal. This isn't something that's being broadcast on television. It's not opening up at the IMAX. Like, this is like just a personal thing. Don't overthink it. And when you said like the scripting, that's usually one of the worst things that you could ever do if you're trying to send just a regular message to touch base, to connect with someone on an emotional level. So on the value of being ad hoc or improvisational, you've sent out about 9,700 videos, maybe more by?
Over 10,000.
Over 10,000. So, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, but you sent me a video over the weekend, because I sent you a video and I was like, hey, I'm looking forward to actually meeting you in person. And then you sent me one back and you said something really interesting. You apologized for the way you looked. You were outdoors, you were sweaty and grimy. I'm really, really flattering you right now. I'm just kidding. You weren't sweaty and grimy, but you apologized for the way you look, and then you threw in something about what was going on that day. Talk a little bit about that and why that actually connected, that really connected with me. Let's talk about the purpose of that, of being authentic and transparent. You didn't sit down and script all that out.
Yeah. Well, of course, recording and sending over 10,000 personal video messages over the last 5 years makes it a hell of a lot easier than when you're first starting out. In that particular moment, I was getting prepared to move. We had a showing. We have 2 insane hounds. And I was like, oh, Angel sent me a video, and I love that he sent me a video, so I have to send him one back. But I was sweaty. I was still wearing makeup from the last night because I'm like, you know, stress sleeping and running around and doing everything. But I wanted to show up the way that you showed up. And I wanted to show you that I was equally as excited about this conference because it's sick. So of course I'm gonna be like, hey, and about the apology, I did apologize for my appearance. I think that just goes with any insecurity that we have as a human being. We tend to point out the things that we don't like about ourselves that nobody else notices. Again, I was wearing makeup from last night. I'm sure Angel's not like, sweetheart, did you wash your face last night? No, he didn't. He wouldn't have even noticed if I didn't call it out, right? So that would be a take home that I want people to know is it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you're at. What matters is that you're showing up for people in the way that they need you to show up, which is in person when you can't physically be there.
I'm glad you have no ego about that, because roll the clip. I'm just kidding. I wasn't gonna do that to you. I just baited you.
Oh, it would have been rad if you did.
All right, so on that note about showing up as you are there any pitfalls for, like, can advisors do that? Like, hey, I just woke up, I just got out of bed, I got bedhead, I got some Lucky Charms in my beard, like, Tell us a little bit about that, Candace.
In my experience, that's never an issue. It's always a fear, especially of like CEOs of larger firms. They're like, oh, well, I don't want my advisors to be like too loose or too crazy. In my experience, it's never an issue for advisors. The issue is actually the exact opposite, right? They're feeling like they have to show up really professional, super polished, and everything has to be perfect, so much so that it actually becomes a barrier. There's not an advisor that I've ever met or coached that's going to show up in a way that would jeopardize their relationships with their clients. I think during the pandemic, though, I did have to do a little bit of coaching for men on like haircuts, you know, like that was like something I was like, is this how you're going to show up? Just checking, you know what I'm saying? But even now, I think there's a lot of advisors who are showing up in t-shirts if it's appropriate for their clients. So we've loosened the constraints on what clients now expect from a financial advisor.
So it's basically, it's just like, don't be distracting, right? Just put enough thought into it. So Katie, what would be an appropriate amount of prep? I know we're not talking about over prepping and getting a whole crew together and doing makeup and equipment, but what's an appropriate amount?
Minimal, because the less prep you do, the more authentic you're going to come across. And so when we're really talking about personal one-to-one videos, we're talking about, you know, starting with gratitude videos. You know, how often do we think about someone and we're like, oh my gosh, I haven't called Ray in months. Like, I wonder how she's doing. You know, or I haven't called my mom in a while, or a neighbor, you know, a client that maybe you've lost touch with. And so just starting with actually taking the moment to pause for a second and send that 30 to 60 second video just saying, hey, I was just thinking about you. You know, I wanted to let you know how much I appreciate our friendship, that you've been my longest standing client, the mentorship you gave me, you know, a COI that's referred a lot. That's just stuff that's coming straight from the heart. And if you sit there and start scripting out like, okay, you know, hi, Mr. Franklin, I want to thank you for the 3 referrals that you gave me, when they get that, it's going to fall flat. But if you just send it as authentically and genuinely as you're thinking about it, I promise you they're going to get it and go, oh my gosh, like I so appreciate that. So the less overthinking, the better. And just start with those easy things. Send a happy birthday video to somebody. If somebody retired, send a video, right? We all have emails, and I love emojis, but even like the best written text with the most fun emojis will never come close to the power of receiving an easy and authentic video from someone.
So I think the overthinking waters things down, and the overthinking also impedes action, because if you're overthinking, you're just going to delay and delay and delay.
You will, and if I can just quickly add to that, so in one of my, well, in all my workshops, I tell people, I was like, upload your first take. So every week they just have a 1 to 2 minute assignment. I was like, upload your first take. And I get all the excuses. They're like, well, I can't do this, and it's going to take 7. I'm like, you can upload your 17th take, but I want to see your first take. And last week we launched another workshop, and every single person uploaded their first take, and they were all fabulous. And so like we had this whole talk about mindset shifts, and like if you're telling yourself, I only have 1 take, right, like leaving a voicemail, then it actually like almost changes your brain chemistry. And I'm not a scientist, so don't quote that, but right, it just tells yourself like, hey, just get your message across, you're gonna do this and be done with it. And then it almost stops your brain from going down that overthinking path.
Does that make anybody break out into a cold sweat if I were to tell you, go record a video right now, send it to your top 3 clients, and only send them the first take? You're not allowed to do a second take. Does anybody get nervous about that? No?
No.
Be honest.
Angel, you know, I love the idea of just like sending your first take. I think there's like, I love gratitude videos too. And I feel like if there's something longer, if you're going to create a lot of intention around your video, the framework that we teach is like super, super simple, which is what is the change that you want to create with this video? So what's the state of mind of the person that you're sending it to before they receive their video? Like maybe they're feeling stressed about the markets. Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed by all the information, and maybe you're just shooting a video to send to all your clients to say, it's cool, don't worry. Remember, we've taken into account your risk tolerance. We know your time horizon. Markets go up and down. I'm here if you need anything. That framework is how are they feeling afterwards? Reassured, feeling confident that they can reach out. So what are the 3 bullets that you need to cover? Don't worry, we've taken into account your risk tolerance. Markets go up and down, you can contact us. So just having your 3 bullets to like organize your thoughts when you feel like there's a really important message, or maybe it needs a little bit more thought, and then just being conscious and intentional about the goal of that video.
So you don't have to overthink it, but you could be intentional with every action, with every activity. So along the lines of clients and the client experience, I mean, that was one of the ways that I connected with Ray. You were customer support at a company, and you had onboarded me. And right after the onboarding, you sent me a video. This was 4 or 5 years ago. I got that video. You thanked me for my time. You wished me luck on this new tool. It endeared me in 2 ways. It endeared me to the company that you worked for. I'm like, shit, this company is awesome. Like, these are my pals. And it endeared me to you. I felt warm and fuzzy inside. I'm like, wow, she just made my day. So talk a little bit about that. Like, what did you have a framework, or was there a particular sequence, or was it just like, I'm just going to send a thank you, gratitude video to this guy?
It's both, actually. In that specific case, it was a part of our process to send a thank you video following up with all of the resources that Angel and his team needed to get started with video. But also, back to your point, it's about authenticity. If I sent Angel a video and I was like, hey Angel, Ray here from BombBomb, thank you so much for your time today. I've got resources in the email below this video. Let me know if you have any questions.
And it wasn't like that. Yeah, it was not like that at all. It was exactly like this, like the way you are.
Yeah, because all right, raise your hands if you genuinely care about the success of your clients. There we go, every single hand. They know that because of how you treat them. So when you're sending videos, you already know your process, you already know your workflow, you already know what they need to know in order to keep things rolling and growing their financial future. The only difference is you're tweaking the medium. It's the same thing, just a different medium. So bring your authentic self and Build relationships, yeah. Angel always says, you know, I'm in it for the long game, right? Angel wants long-term relationships, long-term investments with his humans. And it just goes to show a very simple video can make you memorable and keep you connected with somebody over the span of years. Imagine what that could do for your business. Imagine the repeat and referral business that you can get from being more memorable to your clients and prospects.
Well, not only that, if I can piggyback on that, so few advisors are using video, right? I mean, truly, like so few. And so
Shockingly small.
Shockingly small. And like these, we're talking about easy and authentic videos. We can talk about, you know, all kinds of longer form videos and other stuff, but right here we're talking about that. And here's the thing, just by doing them, and these should not be complicated, it can be the single best ROI you have in your business. And I have multiple examples of advisors that, just like that case right there, after that onboarding or after the initial discovery meeting, the advisor sends the prospect a video just saying, you know, hey, thank you for your time today. You know, I think it would be a great fit, and you know, whatever your next steps are. And those advisors have closed the business, and the prospect has specifically said it was because of that video. So that it took the advisor 90 seconds maybe to just send that video, and that alone was an absolute differentiator over the other advisors that they interviewed.
So let's talk a little bit about habit and process. So Candace, what are some ways that you've coached some clients on, here's how to incorporate video into a little bit of a repeatable process that you can keep real, that you can keep authentic, that you can keep emotional, but that is a little bit repeatable and part of a daily, weekly workflow of sorts?
Yeah, so I think that's exactly the way to think about it. So think about how can you use video as part of your workflow. So I always think about, if you're getting started, identify that one place where it would have the highest impact. So it could be like, okay, to your point about sending it as a thank you email once Angel had engaged as a client, is it a pre-prospect meeting video that you send where you say, hey, I'm super excited to see you. This is our process. This is what to expect in meeting one. We're so excited to see you. So by the time they actually arrive at that meeting, they've got a sense of who you are already. So they've done some trust building on the front end. Another excellent place you could say is like, our team is going to send a video every client meeting as a follow-up. So we're going to say, this is a quick recap of the meeting. Here's your notes attached to all of those types of things. You're trying to supercharge touch points. So what are the opportunities that you can supercharge touch points? Also, another place to really incorporate it into your process is, where are you or your team explaining or answering the same question again and again and again? Can you pre-shoot a video that you can repurpose? So for example, we need to get onto the client portal. Like maybe that's always something you're answering. Can you just shoot a video and have it stored so that you know you're sending that out proactively? I actually saw a video which was like so good. I hadn't even thought about this. An advisor was sending out a risk tolerance questionnaire to their clients. And what he'd done is he shot a video explaining what the risk tolerance questionnaire was, and then actually given the clients coaching around it. This is how to think about it. This is how it will impact you. So all of a sudden it's like, boom, a ton of value in something that is really kind of rudimentary and like a normal part of the process. So when you're thinking about video, don't just think about it from like a social media, YouTube perspective, although those things are very cool and meaningful. Like, where in your workflows can you supercharge a touch point or even close a process gap?
Mm-hmm. I love that. So supercharge a touch point. Do something that is easy, that you can act on quickly, and that you can possibly repurpose, and that will have a huge emotional impact. Are there any faux pas? Are there any moments where you shouldn't send a video, where really it should be a text or an email? Any examples of that where you coach people on that decision tree?
Bad news. I mean, I feel like you just got to make the call, right? That's the only thing I could think about. Like, if you have to have a hard conversation, I think that's pretty intuitive. But like, just making sure that like, if you have to have those difficult conversations, or maybe it's something that's not that ideal, like, you'll know though, like that's a call. But otherwise, I feel like, or if you're making, this doesn't happen. It used to happen. It doesn't happen anymore. Is that advisors would come to some of our workshops and they'd come out and then they just start making like millions of videos, and like just sending them out everywhere, and then they'd get burnt out, right? So then we learned, okay, you've got to say, choose one place, ask for feedback, see how your clients or prospects respond, see what you think about it, and then adjust, expand, and grow what you're doing.
I do want to take some questions in a minute here, but so, noodle on a question, and I'll call you in a moment after you raise your hand. But Katie, Ray, anything to add to Candace's point?
Thank you, Katie. We both opened our mouths at the same time. My rule of thumb when it comes to when not to send a video is if it is going to take you less than 3 seconds or 3 sentences to respond to the person. So if you have a client who's like, hey, are we still on for tomorrow at 2 p.m.? And you send them a 15-second video like, hey, absolutely, here to confirm your appointment at 2 p.m. tomorrow. They don't need that. You can just send them a quick email and say, absolutely looking forward to it, right? So rule of thumb, 3 sentences or less does not need a video.
Yeah, so I kid you not, I was gonna have the exact same example, and in my head it was 2:30.
Oh,
so,
my God. It's the time. It's the time to have appointments.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Anything if it's too information dense? Like I once got a video and someone was giving me a list of 50 things to do, and I was like, why are you telling me this via audio? Like I just want a bulleted list, man.
I have a max of 3 rule in videos. So like Candace was saying, right? Like what are 3 things? Like even if you're gonna do kind of a longer form video or something where you're providing more information, 3 things. And start up front and tell them, hey, I'm gonna touch on these 3 things, and actually call them out as you're doing it. Because a lot of times, like, people will just kind of go on run-on sentences, and you're like, are we still on number 1? Is this where? Right, and in your brain, you're like, how much more am I waiting for? So yeah, you can do a quick, like, hey, I just want to mention 3 things, or, the main 3 takeaways from our meeting. First is, second is, third is.
And then you can have links and attachments, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, think about those videos as like your executive summary. Like these are the 3 things you might need to know. If you want more information, check out the links below, the attachment, log on to the client portal.
So I don't have to share my screen and then read word for word a document that I'm going to be sharing with the client.
Don't do it.
I mean, you can send me a video like that, Angel. I'd enjoy it.
You'll do 3x speed. Yay!
Yeah, just speed through.
Any questions? Any questions? Right here.
It's so different for each advisor. So I think when we're coaching, we say, first of all, some recent advisors came into one of our workshops. They'd never even put on their camera for Zoom calls, but their goal was to start doing YouTube shorts, right? So I was like, okay, it's cool, I like the enthusiasm. But my recommendation is always start in one place, start internally so you can get good and practice at it with your clients or prospects before you start thinking about YouTube or social media. And then it's really where do you think it will have the biggest impact? You usually know. So if you're gosh, prospects are coming in and they're asking this question, or I'm so tired of answering this question about the client portal or whatever, just choose that one pain point for you and just start there.
Yeah, I would just echo that and say, what is your biggest need right now? Because you can always add on to that. So if you're having a lot of issues, onboarding, or there's, a bottleneck in the process and data gathering, if clients just aren't doing it, great, do a video, talking kind of like the risk tolerance, talking about, yeah, we all get data gathering's painful, right? But talk them through why is it important, kind of how much effort should they put into it, and versus if you just launched an RIA last month, you're not going to have a lot of clients going through the process. So it's going to be reaching out before the prospect meeting, reaching out after the prospect meeting, and more of those. But wherever you start, it's about building that comfort, building that consistency, building that confidence, and then it'll just get easier and easier to add different layers to it.
And here, sorry, Ray, go.
Oh. Thank you. Biggest time suckers. That's the best place to start.
Yeah.
Especially if you play a lot of phone tag, especially if you're out and about a lot and you don't spend a lot of time in the office. If you need to follow up with somebody, send them a quick video. There's also something called evergreen videos. These are videos that feel personalized, but they're specific to process, not person. Those are great for those time-sucking moments, whether you're texting the video, emailing the video, whatever it is. totally lost my train of thought, so I'm going to send it back to you,
Let's see if we can do some rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give the folks here some homework. In the back. I want to hear Ray and then Candace talk about this.
I love Bomb Bomb.
I love Bomb Bomb.
Yes.
Does anybody else love Bomb Bomb?
Candace is not a big fan.
We are mad fans of Soapbox by Wistia and Loom. In my experience, those are just like the most intuitive for advisors. However, like we're agnostic. Like if you want to do a video, use whatever you got. And also, to be honest, there's so much technology and there's so many like people coming up with video solutions I can't even keep up with. So if there's one that you love, it's intuitive, your compliance department says good, use that.
Absolutely, 100%.
So quick piece of homework then. If someone's considering a tool, like, tell them to define, like, hey, make a decision by X. Like, do not spend 6 months.
One is not exceptionally better than another.
Yeah.
So at this moment in time, they're all pretty good.
Just do a 14-day trial. See if you like
There
it.
you go.
Try the other for 14 days. You have no money out of pocket. You're testing it. You have that 14-day time limit. Decide, move on.
You, sir.
Can you give us some quick examples? Like meeting recap for birthday, that's obvious, but workflow was something I hadn't thought about. Just quick examples of other ideas or ways we can use it.
I was going to think about this when this gentleman over here asked about like where do you start? So advisors that pain points. One advisor came to us for some issue. They were having issues scheduling clients for their semi-annual reviews. They just had a 40% rate, like people would not do it. They added video to it, all of a sudden it went up to 80%.
Yep.
Another gentleman was in one of my workshops, cold lead list, started sending videos. All of a sudden one of their cold leads actually just sent across money, right? So these are opportunities. If you run webinars, here's another example, let's just make it up. You're doing a webinar or you have an annual event like tax loss harvesting, something like that. You can actually send a video out to all your clients and say, this is how we think about tax loss harvesting. This is what's coming up. This is what to expect. And by the way, we're then going to have a meeting with you or we're going to have a webinar where we're going to delve into your specific questions or whatever. So what's the opportunity to add value and pre-explain things ahead of time so that your meetings are much more efficient and like focused on their questions. So that might be another one.
Yeah,
All right, one more
say
question.
Well, question?
100% intro videos. If you have never met that person in person, show them who you are. That is the most important thing. And then to Candace's point, the moments that matter most to the client is when you should be sending videos.
All right, this gentleman in the blue shirt here.
The length of these how-to videos, are they 2 minutes, are they 7 minutes? What's the typical?
Keep them as short as possible. Be as concise as possible. We love hearing ourselves talk, right? But that does not mean our clients do. So,
Right over here.
How would you, if it's a full list, how would you make a title that they know there's a
So I think you can put in the subject video. I think people don't expect it anymore. I think just a good practice is to have the thumbnail visual in your email. If you're just hyperlinking text, no one will click into it. But typically, even if they're cold emails, they might click on it, glance at it. If they see a video, they're much more inclined. They may be. That's not a promise, like not return promise, but they may be more inclined, and the research says so, to actually like click into it.
Oh, we got a minute left. Let's leave our people here with a quick piece of homework that they could actually get done while they're here at the conference. We'll start in this direction.
Post a video to Twitter. I dare you. Please tag me. I'd love to see it.
And hashtag Jolt Conference.
I would say, and if you're not comfortable with that, honestly, you can just text a 30-second video to a friend, send it to your spouse, send it to your kids, send it to your parents, like literally just, or somebody that, as I said that earlier, somebody that you have been thinking about but you haven't reached out in a while, just record a video on your phone and text it right to them. That way, you're in a safe space, easy.
I'm gonna say gratitude videos too, because it's gonna give you that happy high,
Yeah.
and you're gonna love the response you get, which is gonna help you build confidence. Another piece of homework is talking to us. I saw a lot of hands raised that we didn't get to. We are here to answer your questions. So,
And I'll be in the coaching on Friday.
So I love talking about advisors, talking to advisors about video. So I would love to hear,
We could do it all
watch
day
your
long.
videos.
All right, so in the spirit of gratitude, I want to thank the three of you for joining me,
Thank you,
for
Angel, for
taking
having us.
that
Thank you.
call, and for joining
Thank
us
you
here.
all
Let's
for
hear it for our
being here.
wonderful ladies here. Thank you so much.